It doesn't matter what your politics are, there's always money to be made. Cash isn't red or blue, it's green. Hey everybody, Walrus here with Walrus Street, here with your weekly for the week of January 11th, 2021. First things first, I do want to take a look back at the biggest news stories of last week. If you guys have not already checked it out, please remember that I do post technical analysis for free. Down below the video, there's a link. This is going to be a Google Sheet that I update every single week. I am up to 13 different companies that I'm covering and running analysis on. Let's get into the first story. Tesla closes day as the 5th most valuable US company, passing Facebook. So not long ago, Tesla was included into the S&P 500 just before Christmas. Already, it's the 5th most valuable US company, passing Facebook. It surpassed Facebook by market cap. The jump makes it the 5th largest company in the large cap benchmark when counting the share classes of Alphabet together. If you don't know, there are 2 different share classes of Alphabet, and if you add them together, then it is going to be the 5th largest company. So now it only trails Apple, Microsoft, Amazon, and Alphabet. In obviously related news, Elon Musk passed Jeff Bezos from Amazon as the richest man on the planet. Because if you remember, Jeff Bezos' personal wealth took a big hit because he got divorced and his wife ended up taking a pretty hefty amount from him. Elon Musk is currently not married. He is dating. I don't think he has to worry about the divorce settlement losing half of his assets right now. He also tweeted something rather amusing about this entire wealthiest man alive. That's it. He seems like he's not too impressed with it. Just another day at work. Now, this is one that initially you might think is not too exciting, but I'm going to show you why it is. Oil jumps, breaks above $50 for the first time since February as Saudi Arabia announces voluntary oil cuts. Now, if you remember, at the end of last winter, before coronavirus started becoming a global pandemic, there was a price war between Saudi Arabia and Russia, and it ended up driving down the price of oil. Right after that, we had the pandemic hit. Nobody was traveling, so there was no demand for oil. And at one point, oil actually had a negative value where people were paying you effectively to take it if you could store it. The reason this is a big deal is because oil is widely used. Now, I know there is this idea that oil is dead, oil's not coming back, oil's not important, but we still use oil for more than just cars. Now, if you take a look, this is from the US EIA, Energy Information Administration. US petroleum consumption by end-use sector share. So it's 68% transportation, industrials 26, residential, commercial, electric power. So most of it is transportation. If we look further at that breakdown, this is going to be the consumption in millions of barrels per day. Finished motor gasoline is going to be about 40% of that amount. So yes, motor gasoline for cars is the largest consumer, but look right here, we've got jet fuel is coming in at about 1.7 million barrels per day. And that's a significant number when you consider how many planes are flying to how many cars are on the road. We also have diesel fuel, which would be used by a lot of ships and industrial engines. And the list goes on. And this industry employs a ton of people. This is the International Labor Organization. The ILO estimates that nearly 6 million people are directly employed by the petroleum industry, and over 10 times that number of jobs are indirectly created by the industry. You can understand if the industry is successful, then people are not going to be losing their jobs, and this is going to help the economy in the long run. I'm quite happy to see oil finally recovered its price after a year. I know EVs are the future, but oil is always going to have a place in industry. Next story. 4 dead. Congress evacuated. National Guard activated after pro-Trump rioters stormed the Capitol. Next up, Biden to unveil trillions in pandemic economic relief spending next week. Biden is going to be sworn in very, very soon. I believe it's going to be the 20th. Because the Georgia elections, the senatorial runoffs, ended up both going to the Democratic Party, that means the Democratic Party now controls the presidency, the Congress, and the Senate. This is going to make it so they have an incredibly easy time passing whatever legislation they want to pass, including these spending bills. And the Republicans are not going to be able to do much to oppose close it. Yes, this is going to increase national debt, but also this is going to inject a lot of capital into the economy. Biden says we need more direct relief flowing to families, small businesses, including finishing the job of getting people that $2,000 relief direct payment. Biden's initial plan was for a bill under $1 trillion, but he said on Friday, economic research confirms that with conditions like the crisis today, especially with such low interest rates, taking immediate action, even with deficit financing, is going to help the economy. Markets have reacted quickly to expectations that government spending will rise since the Democrats won the Georgia elections, with stock indexes rising and the interest investors demand on 10-year U.S. Treasury bonds climbing to their highest levels since March. The markets were higher this week. There was a pretty big drop on Monday in the morning, but after that, it spent the rest of the week climbing. We did finish a lot higher than we started. One thing that I've noticed throughout this election cycle, anytime something positive happens for the Democrats, there's spikes in two sectors, cannabis and clean energy. And as you would expect, after the Democrats won both runoff seats in Georgia, cannabis spiked immediately afterwards and clean energy spiked also. So this is Canopy Growth Corporation. It's the largest cannabis producer. You can see leading up into the 5th, the market started to rise, and then pre-market on the 6th, this is after the announcements about Georgia. Take a look at this. From 3 p.m. on the 5th to 3 a.m. on the 6th, there was a spike in CGC's value by over $2, continuing to go up through the afternoon the day afterwards. It only started dropping the next day to kind of correct a little bit. We still finished up almost $3 higher on the week than right before the election. People are kind of assuming that with Democrats in office, weed is going to be legalized countrywide and companies like this are going to become very successful. Now, this is obviously a tragedy. This is kind of a developing one, and it isn't really the biggest news story of the week. In Indonesia, a Boeing 737 passenger jet is feared to have crashed. You can see here it departed Jakarta Airport at 2:36, and last contact was about 4 minutes later. It is thought to have dropped more than 3,000 meters in less than a minute. Now, this is one of the reasons why the media really bothers me. When Boeing was having all the issues with the 737 MAX, all of the headlines were saying Boeing 737 MAX, 737 MAX. But here we have an ambiguous headline coming out of BBC that just says Boeing 737. So you, as the reader, are left to assume that it's the MAX because that's what we've had for a long time, and they get the clicks. And then all the way at the bottom of the article, the aircraft, which appeared to have been lost off Indonesia, was a Boeing 737, but it should not be confused with the much more modern 737 MAX. This flight was carried out by a 737-500, built during the 80s and 90s. This specific one was 26 years old. This is just a small instance of the media kind of misguiding and not giving full information in a headline just to get the clicks, and I think it's disgusting because they're profiting off of tragedy, off of loss of life. They're getting more attention. That's it for the news this week. I want to take a quick look at the earnings reports coming up. There are a few that I'm very interested in. Both of the ones that I'm interested in are on Thursday, BlackRock and Aphria. BlackRock is an investment fund and Aphria is another weed stock. This is the chart for BlackRock. Now you can see BlackRock has been mostly consistently rising since their last quarter. Currently they're sitting at about $756 a share. What is BlackRock? So BlackRock is an American multinational investment management corporation based in New York City. Founded in 1988, initially as a risk management and fixed income institutional asset manager, BlackRock is the world's largest asset manager with $7.81 trillion in assets under management. End of quarter for 2020. I'm really interested to see the breakdown of the $7.81 trillion in their earnings report. This is a massive amount of capital. With interest rates being so low, I think the fact that BlackRock is climbing so high is inevitable. People have to put their money somewhere. If they have trepidations about going into stock, it only makes sense that they would trust the largest asset manager in the world with their investments into equities. Needless to say, I think BlackRock is going to beat their earnings report expectations. And if we take a look throughout the year, quarter one, they had a beat by 24 cents, beat by 86 cents, a beat by $1.42. If we extrapolate that out, this should be a beat by like $1.80. So this is a significant movement. Next up, this is the chart for Aphria. Aphria, like I said, is a cannabis stock. One thing that's kind of interesting here that I want you guys to look at, look right around here. This is election day in America. Once it was mostly certain that Biden won, you can see Aphria stock climbed after the election and then corrected. If we look here, this is that other huge spike. It was right after the Georgia Senate results. So you can see this stock actually has these noticeable, discernible spikes right after Democratic election days. I'm wondering and I'm thinking that there's going to be another spike after the presidential inauguration on the 20th. Also about Aphria, just over 3 weeks ago, ago, Aphria merged with Tilray. Combined, the two companies say based on pro forma revenue of 874 million Canadian dollars, they would be the largest cannabis company in the world. Even after the merger, Aphria is going to hold 62% of the value in the company. So it's more like they're taking over Tilray than it is a total merger. Let's take a look at my Robinhood options trades for the week, and I am going to be making a play on Aphria this week. Now you can see my account value here. I've had a really good week with my ArcelorMittal and Cleveland Cliffs options rising in value. Now to start things off, I'm going to go to Rocket, and I'm going to move out a week, and I'm going to sell another covered call on Rocket. I'm going to move up, and I'm going to go ahead and sell the 2150 call on this one. One contract. And we're going to go ahead and collect the $16 in credit. Good to go. Next up, we're going to go to Nokia. And I'm going to sell another covered call. This is going to be for the January 15th. I'm going to go up to 450, sell one, collect the $2 in premium. There we go. After that, we're going to go up to Space. I'm going to go ahead and sell a covered call against Space since I'm holding the shares. I do have to go up pretty high on this one because my cost basis is so high, but I can go up here to the $29. And I'm going to go ahead and sell one contract. Collect the $23 in premium. Good to go. GameStop. I'm going to sell a put credit spread on GameStop. And the way I'm going to play this one is I'm going to come down here to the $15 put. I'm going to sell that put. And then I'm going to buy back the $14 put. Put credit spread. $20 in credit. One of those. Yep, that's fine. $100 collateral, that's not bad. Good. My big play for the week is going to be Aphria. Here it is, Aphria. And what I want to do is I'm going to move out to January 22nd. This is going to be after the inauguration. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to buy some in the money calls. This is because I am confident about this play, but I'm not super confident about this play. So I'm going to go ahead and these are actually at the money calls, but I'm going to go ahead and buy 5 contracts of this. So limit price, max cost. Yeah, here we go. And that's it. I want to thank you guys for stopping by. If you want to support the channel, please remember to like and subscribe the video. Also, turn on that notification bell to get the alerts from when I do post a new video. I will be posting a video this week doing a deep dive into Zomedica. I've had a lot of people request it, so if you're interested, please check it out. Thanks for stopping by.